Good morning. My name is Jessica Bonenbless, and I will be teaching a group of imaginary first graders what punctuation marks are and the different kinds of punctuation marks. So here we will begin. Okay, first off, class, who can tell me what a punctuation mark is? A punctuation mark is the usage of marks to make a sentence more clear. So we have four types of different punctuation marks that are used most often in our sentences. Can anyone tell me what the four different types are, or a specific one that they can think of? Okay, so we have a comma, we have a period, we have an exclamation mark, and we have a question mark. Those are the four main ones you'll need to use. So can we all repeat that with me real quick? We have a comma, a period, an exclamation mark, and a question mark. Okay, so why are these so important? Why do we need these punctuation marks? Can anyone tell me why this is an important thing for us? Okay, they are so important because we won't be able to understand our sentences very well without them. So if you're reading a book and there are no punctuation marks, if there's never a period or a question mark, you may not know what the writer is trying to tell you. So you may not even understand what you're reading. Now, the same goes for if you're writing a letter to someone or writing a note to someone, they don't always know what you're saying unless you add a correct punctuation mark. So that's why it's so important. We want people to be able to understand us when we are writing something, or we want to be able to understand them when we are reading it. So that's why it's very important. So can anyone tell me yesterday what we learned about? Yesterday we learned about verbs. Can anyone tell me exactly what verbs are, what they are exactly? Okay, that's a word that expresses an action or a state of being. It's a doing word. Remember, it's that when you're doing something. So it's a word that explains that you're doing something. Now, last week we learned about something kind of similar to a verb, but not quite the same. Does anyone remember what we learned about last week? Okay, last week we learned about nouns. Anybody remember what a noun is? A noun is a person or a place or a thing. Okay, so today we're going to learn about punctuation. And again, I want to see if you can remember what are the four different things we learned about punctuations. What are the four common punctuation marks that we use? Comma, period, exclamation mark, and question mark. That is correct. So after today, what I want you guys to be able to do is I want you to be able to use those four punctuation marks in 5 different sentences. So you're going to make sure you use a comma and a period and an exclamation mark and a question mark in each sentence. And then in the 5th sentence, you can pick whichever one you want and you can use that again. But you need to make sure you've used all 4 of them within those 5 sentences. Okay, so as we start our lesson, we are going to talk about a couple different sentences. And I want your help in telling me if they need a period or a comma or a question mark or an exclamation mark. So first, the first sentence is, Sally is taking her dog for a walk. What type of punctuation mark would we put there? Okay, what we'd be putting there would be a period because it is just a statement. So Sally is taking her dog for a walk, period. Next, we have Sally loves taking her dog for a walk. What do you think that one would be? What kind of punctuation mark? Sally loves taking her dog for a walk. That would be an exclamation mark. Now, our third sentence that we could use, can you think of how we would make, now I need your guys' help actually. How do we think we could make this into a different punctuation mark? How could we rechange this sentence? Could you say, will Sally take her dog for a walk today? And what would that be? Would that be a question mark? Yeah, that would be a question mark. Will Sally take her dog for a walk today? Then we have our fourth one. Can anyone tell me which punctuation mark we haven't used yet? That's right. It's an explanation. No, it is a comma. We have not used a comma yet. So Sally is taking her dog on a walk, but her dog doesn't want to go. So you would put a comma right here. Sally is taking her dog on a walk, comma, but her dog doesn't want to go. Now, what we're going to do after we've learned a little bit about our different sentences and different punctuation marks is we're going to play a game just like red light, green light. Now, I need your guys' help because it's going to be a little different. I know you guys are really good at red light, green light. So I think you guys will be really good at this game. So what we're going to do is I have 4 different pieces of paper. And how the game works is when I say green light readers, I need you guys to run to me just like you would in red light, green light. But when I say yellow light readers, I will be holding up a different punctuation mark. And I need you to remember what that punctuation mark means. So, first off, we have, what is this to everyone? Can you tell me what kind of punctuation mark that is? That's a comma. And so when you see this comma, I need you to slow down and walk, okay? When you see that comma, you need to slow down and walk. Now, what is this one? That looks like a dot, so what would that be? That would be a period. And when you see that period, I need you to stop right now, wherever you are. Just stop, okay? Next, we have an exclamation mark. Now, what I need you to do with that is I need you to hop and wave your hands whenever you see that exclamation mark. So you hop and wave your hands, okay? And then next, our last one, we have a question mark, okay? And when you see that one, I need you to stop, tilt your head, and put your hands on your hips. And that's our question mark, okay? So let me go over these again for you real quick. See if we can remember. So a comma means what? Slow down and walk. An exclamation mark means what? You hop and wave your hands. A question mark means stop, tilt your head, and put your hand on your hip. And then a period means stop right now, okay? So we're going to try that for a little bit, and it's going to be the same rules as red light, green light. So if you get one wrong, you have to go back to where you began. Okay, after that, we are going to play a game, a little read aloud game, okay? And so I have this book called Yo, Yes. And from this book, I need your guys' help to help me figure out where the different punctuation marks are within that sentence. And we're going to color each one a different color. So all of the commas will be the same color, all of the periods will be the same color, all the exclamation marks will be the same color, and all the question marks will be the same color. And I need you guys to help me and point out which ones are which punctuation marks and what you would call that. So after that, what I need us to do is I'm going to read the story to you, okay? And as I read the story, I'm going to sometimes say some things wrong. And I need you guys to tell me if I read it the wrong way, depending on the punctuation mark. So if I'm reading it, for example, if I was reading one of the sentences we just wrote, like, will Sally walk her dog today? And I say, will Sally walk her dog today? Do you think that would be a question mark or an exclamation mark? It sounds more like an exclamation mark, but it should be a question mark. So I need you guys to do 2 things for me. If I do it wrong, I need you to raise your hand for me, and I'll know I did it wrong. And then